Get it to go, people. We're on in a minute and counting.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's main event.
What's happening, friends? It is Smoothie and my main man, Crazy Mike Mucitelli, and we have decided to take this kind of thing that we've been doing. That was the last maybe 6 months that we've chatted, and
yeah, it's maybe a little longer, 2-3 fights. Right?
Yeah.
So
and we chat, and obviously we don't have enough time to chat on the air, kind of about the things that we want to talk about. So I said, we should start a podcast. So we have no name for this yet,
not yet,
and. We're just gotta go with it, chat, and see where it goes.
Open to suggestions.
That's
on
right.
The name. So.
Open. So if you're out there and you're listening to this very podcast on YouTube or whatever the hell site we put it on, feel free to email us, bigsmoothie@95x.com, and let us know what you think a name should be. And I'm pretty sure the first person that will email is your brother. So we're we're good to go there, man. So let's get right into it, brother. I mean, obviously you're a couple weeks away from a fight.
Yep, about just a little over 2 weeks.
Yeah. And how are you feeling, first of all? Because you look a little run down today.
Yeah, it's end of fight game. This is how every fighter feels after 8 weeks, 6 weeks. You get that 1 week where you're kind of recovering right before the fight, but the week before that, everything's just kind of built up. Those little nicks, little bumps, little bruises keeping you up. Nothing major though. So that's all you can ask for. Is as long as you're not like injured, you're always going to look like a train hit you. Yeah, it's just a matter of how bad a train.
I really like that burger and that pizza right now.
Oh my God, don't. Why?
Why
are you going to do that?
I did that. I went there. You're welcome.
It's not cool. I thought we were friends.
Yeah, we are. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll buy you one when we come back. When you come back.
Better. Well, I'm giving you my Xbox. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
As long as I win.
This was okay. Here's the deal. I was talking about how I still have a PlayStation 2. And Mike texted me. He's like, "Really, dude? A PlayStation 2? Are you kidding me?"
Come on, man.
So you said if you won this fight, that you're going to give me your Xbox.
I'll give you my 360 because I'm going to pick up an Xbox One. I'm going to move up to the next gen. That'll be my big reward for being a big pro fighter on the spikes.
I feel a little bit like I'm just a burden on you, man.
No.
So Ryan McCurdy is your next fight, your opponent, and I know me making fun of the last opponent who I from pictures of all the pre-fight and all that, I'm like, there's no way this dude wants to fight Mike.
No.
But and obviously we saw that.
Odd world, right?
So Thackersville, Oklahoma is where it's going to be. What have you learned about Ryan as we've moved in just before the fight?
He's got a really strong boxing background, a lot of fights, something like 11. But it's tough to say, especially out in the Midwest there, out in Oklahoma, things like that. Even out in Ohio, people pick up fights on 7 hours notice out there, like all the time. Like, right. It's just, what are you doing tomorrow? I might go to the mall or I might have a cage fight. It's just they have them because it's legal there and they got a big fight thing. Sure. and the wrestling background. They pop out fights like nobody's business. So sometimes it's tough to get a read on someone. But obviously, if Bellator's got their eye on him, then he's got something for me. He's got good hands, But I think I'm a more complete fighter. I see that he trains with R1 out there, which is Matt Grice's school. But he, unfortunately, kind of a sad story, is Matt Grice, the head instructor out there, was rear-ended. And it was in the hospital with like a coma,
really
some brain damage, was having some problems. He's recovering nicely though, but that school puts out good wrestlers, good strikers, and it's a top-notch academy. So should be a much more. He's more conventional, more what an MMA fighter generally looks like as opposed to last time. Mm-hmm. Not just looks like physically, but stylistically, like he will do normal MMA type things. Right. It was really hard to fight someone that like throws a huge overhand, runs, throws it. I was like, what is going on?
What the hell just happened in this fight?
At one point he ran into the ref. I was like, what?
He didn't want to get hit.
No.
He should have. Instead of worrying about getting hit, he should have been worried about getting armbarred.
Again. But with this guy, I think I'll have the edge on the ground, obviously. He'll have a wrestling background because he's from Oklahoma, I assume. I think that's just what they do. You would think so,
right? Midwest.
They shoot him out the mom, and they already grapple onto the doctor. And
Midwest, you look Nebraska, you look that kind of area, man. Big time wrestling school.
He's from Oklahoma, so I'll get booed a lot, so that'll be fun.
Nice.
But maybe I'll put on. You know, I'm not a big fan of country music, which I think I can say because you're on a rock station. But maybe I'll come out to a country music song to kind of try to endear myself to the local populace.
Screw that.
Just go full heel. Go
that.
full Ric Flair.
Exactly. Listen, we're going WWE action this one.
I'm gonna come out and just. But what I heard, you're all a bunch of hicks.
Yes, that's exactly what you have to do. That's exactly when they start trying to give you high fives. Just give them the middle finger on the way down. What is it, Victory Road?
Yeah,
is that what
that is what we have. We have Victory Road.
Victory Road?
With the,
it's like a WCW pay-per-view.
A very nice motorcycle right at the beginning of the entranceway every time, and I always feel like I'm just going to knock it over. Because like it's just sitting there, and I'm waiting for someone to, and just knock over this 30,000.
When you're going down to the ring and you're because it's a whole different setup compared to UFC or some of the other MMA that's out there.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like when old school UFC before Dana bought it and it was just kind of you know beating each other up.
Yeah.
You know, they used to have the big lights. You'd come out, the fog, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, how is that kind of when you're coming to the ring? Does that focus you a little bit more?
It's a trip, man. You try not to get caught up in it. I'm not gonna like the first time I went to Bellator, I was sitting there, eyes like just as big as friggin' moons. Like, oh my god! So there's these strobe lights going off in a smoke machine, and this announcer, crazy man, and I'm like, whoa, this is a bit much. Honestly, it's so much of an overload that if you don't just tune it out, you'll friggin' short circuit before you even make it halfway down the ring. It's like, okay, everything needs to not happen right now because it's just too much sensory overload.
Do you focus on your feet? Do you focus on the cage? Do you think about not tripping on the way? Because I mean, if you're on,
those are big things. Those are important. I mean, people underestimate the importance of walking down the arena correctly. Because if you just walk and there have been times where you walk down and the guy's like, "No, you're over on that other corner," and you do this stupid thing, and one corner goes the wrong way, and you walk. Yeah, you gotta focus on looking badass. I feel like that's the key.
Right.
Look badass.
Okay.
If you can look badass when you walk, you're doing well.
Do it with conviction.
Yes.
That's what I've always been told.
Conviction.
Do it with conviction and act like you're supposed to be there.
That's the stereotypical line.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. You're just gonna give 100% every day too while you're at it.
No, not really. No, not at all.
Cookie cutter responses so you're going to drop out there for me. I'd like to thank the Lord for this opportunity.
Oh, no, we are not doing that.
I
promise you that's
Don't get me wrong, I have a little bit of faith, but just God didn't tell you to go in there and beat someone's ass for a paycheck.
Every time that I watch a UFC event, and it's because usually it's UFC. Bellator, you don't really see that too much.
Not as much, which is weird.
But the last one I watched, the kid was like, the first thing he said when Rogan was interviewing him was, "I just want to thank God." I'm like, oh, here we go with this crap.
Everyone collectively sighs. Like I get it. Like I actually did some thinking on this at one point, and because I'm like that, I guess. And I get it. To be a fighter, to be doing this, you kind of have to have this whole humble thing because there's always going to be someone better than you at something as an MMA fighter. In boxing, in other sports, it could be a little different because it's like they only have one aspect. It's impossible to be the best at every single aspect of MMA. Wrestling, judo, striking, jiu-jitsu, someone's always going to have an edge. So people are always very humble and especially with how small a selection it is that goes to the UFC, that goes to Bellator, that goes to World Series of Fighting. Sometimes you find yourself being like, well, why did I get this opportunity when all these other dudes worked their ass off too? So I could see it being a religious thing, like, there's times I've gone, man, thank God I got this shot. But I'm not going to go up on stage and be like, it's God that put me in this. It's not. God is not putting you in a cage to fight another man and beat him up in front of his family. That's not God's idea. All right, you worked hard. Your team worked hard. Thank them first. Cool that God got you some talent and stuff. But
here's the thing. It's awesome that people have faith, and I have one of I have a couple friends that are, they're into that, and that's cool. And he says, he's told me a couple times, you need to find God. That's fine. You want to preach to me? I've already told. He knows how I feel about it.
Yeah.
You do your thing. You do your thing, that's fine. You don't have to bring it to everybody else.
Well, that's the thing. You can preach to your friends, you can preach to your family, people that are close to you, but to preach to 2 million strangers, it's come on.
Because honestly, if you want it, there's a couple different things that I believe go into fighting. We'll talk about it later on here in the show, but if you want to endure people, that's not the way to do it.
No, that's a way to create a divisive fan base, religion is not a topic that everyone agrees on.
Sure isn't. Sure isn't.
It's not a good way to get everyone to team with you, you know.
Which I can't believe that the conversation went this route.
Right?
That's all good.
Well, we're just off the cuff
We
here,
are.
man.
We are. So check it out. Bellator, is it 106? What are they calling this one?
106, I believe, is this one.
Okay. We hope that's what it is.
I hope so.
If it's
too.
not, that's what we're calling it.
I announced it originally as 107, and it was listed as 107, but then they changed, I think, the upcoming pay-per-view, which is next week,
Yes.
November 2nd.
Yeah, next week.
No, second, yeah. And I'm tired, man. And then they changed the name of that, so then mine got the number changed. It's just been.
So there you go. Next 2 Fridays, November 8th. You, of course, versus Rod McCurdy, Thackersville, Oklahoma. Which is this one going to be a Facebook fight, or is that
I
probably, maybe?
Probably on the undercard, spike.com,
Yep.
live stream there. Also Bellator.com. I use the Bellator. No, I use the Spike one because you get a side chat window.
Gotcha.
And I like to feel important. I'll be like, oh, look at this fight. And they're like, oh, don't you fight for them? I'm like, yeah, I do. So.
Outstanding. So check it out. We're going to take a quick break. Well, we'll come back. I don't know what kind of commercial I'm going to put in here, but it'll be something. And we'll talk about actually next week's card, which is probably the biggest for Bellator
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
ever. So we'll be right back.
Some like a six-pack. Screw that. Keg serves more.
Big Smoothie and the People Show, 95X.
So check it out. We're back here. Me, Big Smoothie, Mike Mucitelli, the crazy one. And we don't know what we're calling this yet, so we're just kind of going off the cuff.
Still
We'll call this the 315 MMA podcast with Big Smoothie.
There you go. Look at
All
that.
right.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Repping the 315.
There you go, 315. Hashtag. Make sure you
Hashtag.
put that in there. So coming up, Bellator is probably, I think, they've had some great fights on Spike and all of that, and they're building this along. Yeah. And now they hired two, I think, of the biggest free agent guns that have the biggest names in the sport, that being, of course, Rampage and Tito. You know, the fight card underneath that is just crazy amazing.
That's the card itself is phenomenal. You know, the names obviously are Tito and Rampage,
right,
that your average guy knows, but the fights underneath that, especially the Chandler Alvarez, is just outstanding matchups.
Let's chat. We'll chat about those here before we get into the Rampage Tito and kind of where that spawns the sport. But you're looking at Congo versus Vinicius Spartan.
Vinicius.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's his actual name. Like, what else are you gonna do when your name's Vinicius Spartan?
You don't really have a choice.
You have to be a cage fighter.
Yeah,
like that's chosen for you.
That is the heavyweight title tournament that one's in.
Yeah, that one just rounded out. That should be entertaining. Two pretty solid strikers. Congo, much more the clinch kind of kickboxing game, but he's always had that suspect chin. You know, he's always had it. And
dude's been around for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, before he was even
was it
in
K1?
the UFC,
He was K1 and
he was a kickboxer for
right. He did a
forever.
bunch of different stuff, so he's been around for
He's
a while.
French. They all kickbox over there. Savant.
You would not think a guy like with a name with Congo
would be.
I always think he's from Africa.
Well,
I don't. And
that's because the Congo.
Right.
Is
Exactly. I don't think French. It's just me, I guess.
But it's hilarious whenever he talks. That's because he's this just giant, superhuman physical specimen, and he gets I can't do a French accent, but he sounds. I can't do it.
It's like the guy in Grown Ups who has the muscles and goes over to the women. Hey, ladies! But so that one should be, for the heavyweight title to get into the last fight. So that'll be cool. The end of that tournament, and then you're looking at Pat Curran, the champ, versus Daniel Strauss for the featherweight
That's
title.
That's a rematch,
which a lot of people are talking about that fight.
Yeah, which is cool because Strauss there went MIA for a bit, but
he looks like a guy that goes. I mean, if you look at a picture of this guy, he's kind of I guess, I don't know, a younger version of
Crazy Horse?
No, I can't think of it. Well, the dude that fought on, he's just fought in the UFC like 3 years ago. Was on
just
Ultimate
fought
Fighter.
like 3 years
heavyweight.
ago.
He was a heavyweight. He did all the damn stuff on YouTube. Yeah, see?
Yeah, Kimbo.
Kimbo.
Well, you had to say the YouTube
He looks like
part.
Kimbo with hair. I mean, that's what he looks like.
All right, I'll give that to you. I'll give that to you.
That's all I got.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a good matchup. Both, again, just well-rounded, high-intensity dudes that don't, point anyone out. That's one of the big things that I like about the lineup that they have. You don't see people on that list that are... I mean, I know what... here's the thing. when a lot of people watch MMA, especially with the wrestlers, there's that, you hear, wall install, which is people pushing against the cage and just grinding them out and lay in prey and things like that. I appreciate the technique into it, and I appreciate how hard it is to do it properly. But from a viewer standpoint, it's obviously boring as hell.
Very much so.
So, that is true. People are like, well, you just don't appreciate. No, I appreciate it. I know what goes into it, obviously. I've been doing this, 8 years now. Doesn't mean that I want to watch it.
Right.
Like I can really appreciate a painting. Doesn't mean I want to watch someone paint. It's
Good point.
There aren't that many matchups that would have people like that. These are all finishers. These are all guys that are putting on crazy shows. And Curran and Strauss, the big thing with me is just their intensity. They don't, like, from the moment the bell rings, they're just flying a million miles an hour.
Well, they're skinny.
Well, that too. Yeah, they're like
little
what are they,
guys.
like 55 or 45?
Yeah, the featherweights. That's why. See, the thing is they're little guys. They move fast.
Well, but they're not the 25s. Like,
No.
Like, what was it, Dodson was on
Yeah.
the last pay-per-view. They're the guys that I'd put in my pocket and walk away with. They're still big. The thing with those, when you get to that little level, sometimes, there's been a lot of people talking like, oh, it's too light. The big problem is they don't necessarily have the knockout power rate just because it's size.
Absolutely.
But when you get to like 55, 70, you get that speed and intensity, but now you have the risk of bigger power behind those
taking a
hands,
shot in the chin, and it's night time.
Yeah. I remember we were watching the last pay-per-view there, the UFC one, and it was the 25 or 35ers on. And we're watching it, and this guy's landing these clean overhands. I'm like, see, in any class above that would have been the end of the fight
Right.
there. If that was a heavyweight fight, that man would have been picking his jaw out of the nice lady's blouse in the front row. But in this one, it was like, wham, all right, 10 more, bam, bam, bam. And you're like, oh.
Go ahead, hit me. You got nothing. Hit me.
Right,
So now we move on to the interim light heavy title. King Mo, I think, who has probably one of the best names in MMA.
King Mo.
King Mo, taking on Emmanuel Newton. This one looks like it's going to be a brawl. There's probably no doubt about that.
Yeah, Emmanuel, obviously because of the division this one's in, I have a little more interest.
Well, yeah, this would be your division.
Hopefully a future opponent.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Me. Mo, devastating power in his hands, but
kind of a douche because he comes to the ring with a freaking crown on. I could say that. He is kind of a douche.
Opinions,
all right. Yeah, you have opinions you might not be able to say, but feel free to say that for me.
But on a technical standpoint.
Right, actually, we're talking technicality.
The fight-wise, huge knockout power, great wrestling ability, amazing ground and pound power. But Emmanuel brings just a funkiness, and that's how one of the biggest upsets in MMA ever was Emmanuel knocking out King Mo with that funky spinning back fist. And the thing was, people watch that fight, and Mo obviously talks about, oh, yeah, he's a gay little back fist. It was stupid. It was weak.
Knocked you out though.
Yeah, that's the thing. He says that. He said he threw it like a girl. I'm like, it knocked you out.
Doesn't matter.
He could have.
Giants Viking was the ugliest game on Monday night. Giants
Gotta win.
Won the game though.
Gotta win finally.
Yes.
Had to slip that one in there.
Yes, I did.
You know what's really funny is my strength coach is a Vikings fan. I walked in the next day after that, and he just looked at me. I was like,
I don't want to talk about it right now.
he had his purple shorts on. He just wasn't happy. Looked really tired. I was like, drank away the pain. Dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, Emmanuel, he's just funky. And before that back fist landed, he was winning the fight. Mo was spending time with, what's his name there? Famous boxing, Mayweather. And he kind of had a Philly shell, but it was a sloppy Philly shell. And that just doesn't work for MMA. Because if you know you're boxing, the Philly shell is when you keep that left hand down and roll the shoulder over.
There you go. Thank you for the technical thing there.
Little knowledge dropping.
Appreciate it.
And it's also an educational podcast.
It is.
But, yeah, you can't pull that off in MMA. And I'm sitting there, and he's just because the attacks are so
sure,
big,
absolutely.
You know, there's a ton of stuff that works in boxing that doesn't work in MMA. Your stance, for instance. But and I'm watching it, and I'm like, there's a risk there. There's a risk. And sure enough, funky. He's hitting these kind of weird strike move, awkward combos, leg kick move, and then out of nowhere, spinning back fist and just blows it up. So
Lights out.
it'll be interesting to see if Mo altered his game. He did alter his game plan some. In his last few fights, he's gotten back to his wrestling, which is he was like D1A All-American. So, but man, it was just weird, and I think it's going to be weird to see how, from experience, how a more traditional MMA fighter deals with funky, awkward attacking people. It's something I have recent experience in.
Right, absolutely.
So, and it is as someone that's been there, man. You're like, your game plan for a minute is stifled because you're going, what is going on here?
And then if you get hit a couple times, now your game plan's out the door.
Yeah, because
now you're trying to figure it out.
You get angry, you get flustered. You're like, what is happening here?
He wasn't supposed to do that.
Right? I was expecting a fight, not this weird swinging ape.
He wasn't
going to
hit me and run. I don't understand what he's doing right now.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
But that'll be a good. We'll have when we're done.
That's only for the
about,
interim title. That's for the
yes,
interim.
right.
Though, because
We'll chat about all this and then we'll come back and we'll pick Michael Chandler versus Eddie Alvarez. You were just talking about that the lightweight title.
yeah, one of the best fights in MMA history was their last one there, and just back and forth. Chandler pulling it off, taking the title, and holding it ever since. Then Eddie obviously ran into his contractual issues.
It happens.
Yeah, those things do happen in this sport. But, they got it straightened out enough, and now they're finally getting the rematch. Again, just two incredibly high-paced, dynamic fighters. Chandler, well-rounded. Eddie's boxing and wrestling just top-notch with actually really good jiu-jitsu. It's going to be a barn burner. That's going to be awesome.
And then we move on to obviously the fight of the night that I think let me set this off. Might not be the fight that everybody's looking forward to watching.
No.
But it's the fight that's going to bring the normal person to know that, hey, Rampage, I know this dude from A-Team.
Yeah.
Tito, this is the dude that banged Jen Jameson and has 2 kids with her.
Right? They're big names.
From the normal outside guy that just kind of has watched the sport over the last 10 years, these are 2 guys that stick out. And, I think on Bellator's end, a great move bringing these 2 guys in, have them fight. Some of the promos for these are kind of different and, a little bit strange.
Like the Stones, man?
Yeah, I like that. But it's going to be I think it'll be a war, man. I don't know what really to expect with this because these
this
guys
one is
haven't
going to
really
be
won
tough.
lately. Yeah.
It's going to be tough to figure out what they're going to bring in. I mean, they're both so up and down in their career, man. It's tough to see which way it's gonna pan out. I mean, Rampage again, great wrestler. Tito, equally great wrestler. Rampage, I think, bigger striking power. Tito, better submission skills, but it's hard to say just because I don't think Rampage has ever submitted anyone.
Right.
But
no, he's a knockout guy.
And Tito
he's going
has.
to put you to sleep.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting, and like we talked about, to the average casual fan of the kind of fan that, like I told you was telling you earlier, the one
Absolutely.
that doesn't call it MMA, the one that calls it UFC,
Right.
As of the sports name, is not familiar necessarily with the name Bellator. I mean, it's the second biggest. It's on Spike TV, but the fact of the matter is, your average,
It's still new. It's still
Ed Hardy
that's the thing, right?
Affliction tap out wearing
Absolutely,
fellow
right.
might not know the name. But they do know the names Rampage and Tito.
Absolutely.
They do know, they remember, isn't that dude that was going to fight Dana White? Tito was the dude that was going to fight Dana White, and Rampage is the dude that howls. I like to howl. So those are the guys that and hopefully they put on a great. I'm not going to lie, as someone that works for Bellator, at first I was a little not the greatest press, but when they filled out this card with the fights that they had, all of a sudden I was like, all right, that's a really smart move. And it's going to be a great card to watch. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so let's go through it right now. Congo, Spartan, who you got?
I got Spartan, actually, in an upset, I think.
All
I think
right.
most people are going to be picking Congo, but I think Vinicius has been he's been working on a lot of quickness, and I think Congo kind of is slowing. So I think that's going to give him the edge. And like I said,
I'm
Congo's
just going to pick Congo because of the name. That's where I'm
you
going.
can't go wrong with that. I mean,
I like watching Congo fight, but I'm picking just for the name.
Last fight, he kneed a man, I believe, to death.
Yes.
I think. No.
Curran and Strauss. Who we got?
That's a pickle. Got to go Curran. Got to go
right.
Curran.
All
Just reigning champ. Going to continue to hold it just a little more.
All right, we're both going Curran on that one.
A little more active, a little more.
King Mo and Newton. Will King Mo revenge his knockout spinning back fist?
kind of pains me to say it, but I'm picking Mo. I
right.
am picking Mo.
I'm going to pick Newton just because we need to be different on that one.
Oh, all right. You just got to be a little bit. All right, let's poke the bear. That's cool.
It's the whole. Don't get me wrong. I like to watch the guy fight.
Yeah.
But it's the whole wearing a crown. I'm just I like that kind of attitude and that
putting
kind
on
of
a little
thing.
bit of a show.
Yeah,
no,
I
I'm
like
down
that,
with it, but
no,
yeah.
I'll take. All right, I'm gonna. I'll take Newton on that one. And then you got Chandler and Alvarez. The lightweight title. This one's going to be a barn.
That's the fight that I'm most looking forward to. That's the one that's really warranting a purchase for anyone that's in the know about MMA. That are going, I don't want to watch Rampage and Tito, but if they hear about that fight, they want to watch it.
Right.
I'm picking Chandler.
All right.
Alvarez, bit long of a layoff, man. Chandler's been active. Chandler won and has only improved since then. Eddie's been up on the bench.
I'm going to pick Eddie because he has something to prove.
He does.
I think he has something
He's
to
got a
prove
chip
here.
on his shoulder, and he's looking to come out to get revenge. That's for sure. He doesn't like. And the thing is, on some other levels, this is Eddie needs this win if he wants to, because there was a big thing about his contractual negotiation and
Right.
trying to get a leg up here. Obviously, you win there, you get a leg up in negotiating. That's the name of the game,
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Chandler's been locked in. And says that he's going to be here for a long time. Eddie's he needs that win to keep paying bills.
Right. All right. So the end of the night fight, I guess we'll call it because it's not a championship fight, but the big names on the first pay-per-view for Bellator, Rampage and Tito. Which one? Who do you have?
Flip a coin.
All right. I'll start.
You start.
I will always take Rampage. One, because he took I've liked the guy since he came to UFC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Liddell fan. He put Liddell to sleep.
He did?
That was a great fight. Just following his career, especially with. I'm not a big Evans fan, so when they were going at it in the Ultimate Fighter, that was fun to watch. And I like Mr. T. So Rampage it is. That's who
Rampage
I'm going with.
by Mr. T.
That's right. Rampage by Mr. T.
Rampage by hitting him with
and
the
he hasn't
with the
banged
van.
a porn star that we know of. With Tito, and of course a crazy
with
ex-wife.
selfies.
Yes,
I think I'm actually going to agree with you on Rampage, just because Edge in the knockout power category.
Right.
And I think that
Tito can't take
I don't think,
shots.
No, not like we
we've
used
seen
to.
that a couple times.
Yeah. And I think if he tries to make it a ground game, he won't be able to really get Rampage.
Now Rampage ain't going down.
But
You never know. You never know.
The thing is you don't know when Rampage is going to show up, man. I mean, that's been the curse of his career.
True story. All right, so check it out. That's going to wrap that up. We're going to come back. Last segment. This one should be an interesting one because we'll kind of get Mike's take on a couple different things. We'll be back right after this.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer, Miller Beer. Miller tastes too good to hurry through, but when it's time to relax, Miller stands clear, beer after beer. If you've got the time, you've got the time, we've got the beer, Miller Beer.
All right, so we are back here on our first ever podcast. Crazy Mike Mucitelli, yours truly, Big Smoothie. And we still don't have a name, so Big Smoothie at 95x.com, or you can check out our Facebook pages, Crazy Mike Mucitelli, Big Smoothie on 95x, and FB, and of course Twitter. We both have those two. So if you have a name for us, feel free to
tweet
to
and
tweet
or
it
Facebook.
and or Facebook it out there, and maybe we'll take that name.
Twitter
We don't. So check this out. Last weekend, I think the last two UFC pay-per-views were, I don't know if some of the best fights, but throughout it, but the final fights were some of the best fights I think UFC's had all year. Entertaining, right? We'll call it that. Obviously with Jones and Gustafsson, and a lot of people say Gus should have won that fight, and it didn't happen. But you know what? You got to beat the champ to be the champ.
To get the belt, man.
And unfortunately, the kind of UFC, WWE, I guess, entertainment aspect. I think that's how they judged it. Gus kind of beat Jones up. And listen, I'm a huge John Jones fan.
The thing, that fourth round where Jones kind of rocked him up a bit, I think swayed a lot of judges because it's later in the fight, fresher in the memory type stuff. Whereas Jones wasn't in as obvious trouble, but there were definitely times where he was wobbled. And I don't know. I gave to, especially you look at the end of the fight. You just look at the two guys standing next to each other. One looks like they were hit by a truck. The other one's fine.
Yeah. You know what you look at it, especially if you look at it from the common fan, is that Jones, obviously he has the Nike contract, and especially if you're around here, you're a John Jones fan for the most part because he's local.
Yes.
When you look at that. So you win around here because you're local.
Yeah,
All right?
I hope so.
But then you look at Gus, who, I'll be honest with you, didn't know really the guy, seen a couple of his fights. He came in and gave John, I could see this being a 3-fight deal. You know what I mean? With them going for the title. Obviously, some other guys get hosed.
I would hope so. Jones made some really controversial comments afterwards saying, like, oh, I don't think he deserves a rematch. I watched the fight. I think I beat him soundly. I'm like,
yeah, I don't know about that. I think that, you know, and listen, I've
might
talked
be
to
the
John.
head injury talking.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've talked to John a couple times on the air, and, you know, he's got that kind of that vibe where, you know, it's a little bit different, but I'd like to see a rematch from that and see what happens.
I'd be excited.
So then we talk about last weekend's 166, Cain Dos Santos 3. And I didn't watch the fight live. I watched some of the replay of that fight, and Cain picked apart Junior. I mean, you know,
he executed a perfect game plan, man. I mean, he didn't stand in the pocket and trade. Dos Santos, some of the best boxing in the heavyweight division, period. Some of the, if not the hardest puncher currently fighting.
Right.
And his stand and trade with him would just be suicide with Cain, you know, for Cain. So he did the smart thing, ground him up against the cage, and landed a lot of hard shots, and then would attack on the break, get back in there, do more work, break, attack, and, you know, just not stand and exchange. Dos Santos needed to learn how to circle the hell out because he would just back straight up into the cage. He'd land a counter punch or two, but this is a very common drill. You have a guy walk you down, and then you circle out so you don't wind up pinned against the cage against a friggin' all-American wrestler.
Right.
Who then just beats a tattoo until you know, look like Sloth from the Goonies. And that's...
He did. He
you
did not
try and
look
avoid
good.
that.
He did not look good. So a lot of people are saying, and Dos Santos has said this, he didn't remember anything after the third round.
Yeah.
When the fight probably should have been over.
Not a good thing.
And a lot of people said that Herb Dean
brains.
should have stepped in, stopped the fight there.
He did at one point. He reached in and put his hand on the shoulder.
Right.
And like he was going to stop it, and then pulled back and stopped. Now, Herb Dean, best in the business.
Absolutely
no
is.
doubt. But I don't know, man. Here's the thing. I'm really torn because, you know, as a fighter who loves the sport and likes to fight, Cain and Dos Santos, as it went into the fourth and fifth, Dos Santos actually started to get closer to having a chance. He has that kind of power where at any moment, one of those punches could win the fight.
Sure.
So to stop it early, you're like, especially in a title fight and a trilogy, you're like, oh, you're robbing the opportunity. But on the same note, if a man is taking the kind of beating where he doesn't remember the majority, I mean, we're not even talking about, you know, he was saying after the second round, he came back to his corner and doesn't remember anything.
Right.
The majority of a 5-round fight, you're talking 8, 9, 15 minutes, whatever it is, of post-concussed damage.
Absolutely.
You know, you hate to see that as a fighter, but that's what we do. That's what we, you know, I don't want anyone to stop the fight for me. I want to fight until there's a definitive end for it.
Right.
But on the same note, I also like being able to eat vegetables with my hands and not through a tube.
Here's the question, though. Should the corner at that point throw the towel in for the fighter? Because this, I mean, obviously, as being a fighter, it's just like being a football player. Somebody tells you got an injury. No, I'm going to go back in.
Yeah.
Pull my finger, pop it back in, tape it together. I'm going back out and playing. Whether right or wrong, I've had concussions before, not actually from playing football, but just you know, from something stupid. But, you know, at what point do you say, you know, somebody has to take care of you as a fighter, and that's what your corner's there for? I'm just playing devil's advocate on it. You know, when do they throw it and say it's done, it's over? He doesn't remember it.
that I think is the more important of the two. It's not. I don't think that Herb Dean was as much at fault. Because of what I said, you know,
Right.
Cain still has a chance to, or
he could still get a shot on the chin and it'd be over. Yeah, absolutely.
But you know, as a coach, it's tough to say. You never want to see someone throw in the towel for you. You never want someone else to tell you, "We're done," especially from a fighter's point of view. You know, but that's what they are there for. They're there to take care of their man. They're there to take care of their fighter. And if they see a level of damage, you know, when they come over and talk to you in the corner and you go, grape soda and bananas, someone should probably step in and be
This
like,
is done.
we might want to pull the brakes. But you know, it's a topic I'm really torn on because, like I said, I love fighting. I love doing what I do. This is so much fun, but I don't want to die.
Right.
You know, I look forward to having a long, healthy life.
If you look at
after
boxers,
I'm done fighting,
I mean, look at Muhammad. You know, and those kind of.
The thing is when MMA and being illegal in New York, the only friggin' state in
the country,
in the continent.
Thank you so
continent.
much. Our government is so awesome in New York.
Seriously, all of Canada is legal too. It's literally North America. Anyway,
yeah,
that's for another episode.
Yes, it is. Absolutely,
I could do a whole.
Yes, I know you can.
Some strong opinions. Is we talk about it's safer than boxing, but boxing is legal.
Right.
So you look at damage like that, and you're like, that's not helping our argument.
Right.
You know, like. That is some severe trauma. That's the kind of stuff that a guy won't be the same after, and you just want to. It's really tough because as a fighter, I want to say no matter what. I don't want this fight stopped unless I'm unconscious or I'm tapping.
Sure,
that's what I want. That's how a fighter feels. And if a corner stops it for him, he's going to be pissed at that corner. He's going to say, "I still had a chance," because that's what we believe. You know, no matter what, we could be unconscious, being punched in the face and stabbed in the kidneys. It doesn't matter. We're still going.
I got this.
I got a chance. I got a chance.
Yeah.
Because that's what you train yourself to do. You train yourself not to break mentally.
Right.
You know, that's what separates a good fighter from
Sure.
not one. So you'll be pissed about it, but yeah, I mean, from an outside view, that's what it has to be.
It's always
the fighter on the inside doesn't have the most clear point of view.
No, it's always going to be in any sport. You know what I'm saying? As long as you've been playing that sport, especially you make it to a professional level, you know, because it gets to a point. Listen, I'm getting paid for this.
Yeah.
I need. You know, I got to.
Well, this is people's food ticket.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Food, kids, whatever the hell you have. You know what I mean? In any professional sport, I'm going back in. Unless I physically cannot walk, I'm going back in.
Exactly.
I'm going to continue this. So it's. I mean, listen, it's an argument that anybody can have any day of the week. You know, with anybody. I mean, Dana even said it should have been stopped, and that's the best part about. I think Dana at times he can be kind of douchey.
A bit of the Dana White show.
Yeah, exactly. It's right.
But he never keeps his opinions, and this is something that needed an opinion.
Right.
So
his opinion on that and judging is amazing sometimes. So, but you know what though, he doesn't get involved in it, and that's the best part about it is he stays out and he just does the promotion end of things. So with UFC, and obviously he does a ton more than that, but. So, you know, hey, listen, it'll always be there. It's always going to be there.
It's just it's a tough line, especially as, you know, it's where we talk about MMA, especially. You know, there are other combat sports out there, but MMA is kind of the focus for me, obviously. And we talk about it like it's common, and it's on Fox and stuff like that now. So we think it's pretty mainstream, but if you go out to a bar and you just survey the crowd, you're only going to know, you know, half of them are going to know what MMA or even the UFC is.
Right.
You know, and even less will know what Bellator is and the term MMA. You're down to like 3 out of 10. You go out there and you say, do you know what professional football is? Everyone knows
exactly.
it. So we might not recognize it, but we're still struggling to break into household name status, you know? The average household doesn't know the names of the UFC champs, doesn't know the name of the Bellator champs, doesn't know the name of World Series champs. So having these head injuries, having these bad type incidents, having those kind of brutal beatings
doesn't really help.
Doesn't
that
help.
cause.
Yeah, it makes it tough. So there's that aspect to consider as well, from a promoter's standpoint, from a manager's standpoint.
Right.
There's a lot. Like I'm not saying. It's tough to say one way or the other how I feel because obviously I'm torn. I'm intelligent enough still because I haven't taken enough headshots. But at the same time, I'm a fighter, and so I have feelings on that. It is what it is.
Yeah, it could go either way. So, hey, they were great fights no matter which way you look at it. Of course, Kane still has the belt, and he's the first heavyweight to actually defend it twice, and could be I'm sorry, not the first, but if he defends it again, which he probably will, because I don't see anybody else in the heavyweight category.
That's something that they had talked about. Is like, okay, now who else? Dos Santos is clearly the second.
Yeah. Cormier wants to go down to 205, so that's probably going to happen.
He wouldn't hold a candle.
No, he'd get beat up pretty good.
Yeah, he's too small. He's too small for Kane.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a 20-pound weight difference and equal wrestling.
Yeah. So I don't know if we'll see anybody anytime soon, but hey, it's just like in the light heavy. We finally found somebody after 6-7 fights
takes time.
For
John.
John.
It was an interesting time. This is before I had gotten picked up by Bellator. I remember watching, like, it was not to take anything away from John. but it was a kind of a changing of the guard.
Sure.
When he rose to prominence.
Right.
It was a lot of those older names, Chuck,
Yep.
Rampage,
Yep.
those names kind
Randy,
of on the way
absolutely,
out.
Absolutely.
That he ended up beating. So it's interesting to see now as a new crop comes up to challenge. And same thing with the heavyweight division. For a while, everyone was like the heavyweight division is the lamest division in the UFC, which it shouldn't be.
Because you had Brock, and then you
Crazy
know,
Horse
you had,
and
yeah,
no, not
I mean,
Crazy Horse. Stone. No, what the hell was his name? The Texas Crazy Horse. Heath Hearing. That's his name.
yes. Oh, jeez. And you had, of course, Mir.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of different things in there, but hey,
no new contenders that had come up and brought something unique yet. And
every day something else comes, so you'll see how it works. But so, of course, this is going to end our first official podcast here with my man Mike, Crazy Mike Mucitelli, yours truly, Big Smoothie, of course, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. We both have it. Make sure you check it out. This is where we talk about MMA or, you know what, kind of whatever else comes to our mind throughout
Evidently,
the
we
chat.
had a religious discussion.
Yes, we had a religious
today.
discussion today.
We
So
could talk about some point. I'd actually like to talk about things like glory too. We could even talk about boxing.
Absolutely.
Kickboxing. Sure, toss it in there.
Sure, why not?
Why not? We're
Sure.
open to suggestions.
Absolutely. So appreciate you listening. If you're out there and any suggestions you have for us, hit us up. We'll see you.
All right, show's over. I'm tired.